Hey guys, welcome back to the Movie Trash Podcast, episode 4. Joined by my co-hosts Jay and Angel. I'm Chris. Real quick before we hop into this movie review, I would like to give a quick apology. I had exams in school and a lot of personal problems I had to deal with, so episode 3 was really late. And this episode is a little bit late as well, so I just want to give a sincere apology for that. And with that, let's get right into this review.
Let's get right into the news.
Yeah.
Please don't sue us, Creamstar. I'm sorry. Actually, I wouldn't mind being friends if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love to meet you, sir.
I'm super down to rub that fucking beard.
Oh yeah, that beautiful gnomish face.
Oh, and there goes our friendship. Keem, I will 100% remove Chris for you to join.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
I'm
loyalty.
willing to hear him scream.
The loyalty, you just disrespected a man without even knowing him.
How's that disrespect? He's embraced the meme.
I hope so, because I really want him on one day. That'd be great to have him.
That would be amazing. That's a dream, dude.
I would love to hold his hand while flying in a helicopter, but I won't do him dirty like Leafy. Yeah, calling out Leafy. Fuck him. What is he gonna do? Come back to YouTube and make a video about us? Boo-hoo. Yeah, highly doubt it.
Dude, that'd blow us up so much.
I know. Shots
Leafy's
fired.
return is just like reviewing 3 kids that have nothing to do in life.
Pretty much, essentially.
3 degenerate Lancasterites, dude. Like, let's go.
All right, Chris, but first off, you lied. You said, oh, this is episode 4. No, episode 4 was Nightmare on Elm Street 2, you bitch. We have to restart now because of you. Episode 3 was put out late, and episode 4 was never put out. This is episode 5, but we're going to call it episode 4, so it's okay, people.
I gotta do it again.
No, you fucked up. That's just going to be on record.
That's fine. All right.
All right, who wants to talk about the movie first? Who wants to? Here, someone give a little synopsis of what the movie is without completely spoiling it.
I'm bad at not spoiling things, but I'll give it a shot. Boy gets staff for birthday.
This is not a synopsis. This is a rundown of like the most basic shit. Okay. Our main character, Ian, correct? Everybody, right? It's
Yes.
Ian. All right.
Tom
Ian,
Holland.
for his 16th birthday, gets a staff from his father that was so when him and his brother grow up, he can see them by casting a spell in a magic world. But in this world, magic has been taken over by society with technology and so forth, instead of focusing on magic and the ways of the old. So now,
Wizards would rather scroll Twitter than fight monsters.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, man, it looked easier. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of resonate with that one dude that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'd rather just flip the light bulb and feel smart instead of fucking trying to deal with magic.
Using my life force energy to create a fireball to light a candle. Like, nah, I'm good. I'll flip a switch.
Exactly, fuck that. Other than
One
that,
thing I have a question about real quick. Why didn't they just mesh the two?
what do you mean?
Like the convenience of like electricity and cars and stuff, but the coolness and usefulness of magic.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of just in their world, it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, magic's kind of a hassle because it seems like kind of a hassle.
That's true. It's difficult and all that.
Exactly. And
people got lazy, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Lazy, a very lazy society, and it kind of, it mirrors our own. So
yeah,
kind of like that too.
Yeah, very much so, actually. Anyways, back to the synopsis before we start talking about it even more. Their father only gets half his body back because I'm guessing, I don't know, and it looks like the Phoenix gem, that's what they call it in the movie, has like a crack in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it cracks and it breaks, and leading to their father only being half of who he is, literally half, only his feet, and them going on an adventure to, and legs, and going on an adventure to pretty much restore the rest of his body just so they can see him for a day.
So can I give a little funny thing I thought of while I watched
can we
the movie?
the first 25? Can we just talk about why we like the movie without saying spoilers, and then we can choose specific scenes after that.
That works.
All right, who wants to go first?
Sure.
Okay, you just saw it, Chris, so you should have the most to say.
I really enjoyed this movie. I like that it had kind of like a moral story to it, you know?
Oh yeah.
I like that there were little funny moments as well as very emotional and touching moments, which sounds weird because it's an animated movie, but I mean, just because I'm a grown man doesn't mean I can't get emotional. I connected with the characters. They were very relatable. Even though I may not have experienced what they experienced, I didn't feel like left out, you know?
Hmm.
The plot was very interesting. It wasn't predictable. It wasn't like bad. It wasn't the best, but I mean, I really enjoyed it. The voice acting was phenomenal. I mean, there were great SFX, great magic sounds, I guess. And the voices fit the character models, I thought, very well. I just really liked pretty much everything there is in a general sense of the movie.
I was gonna say, Tom Holland actually really surprised me this movie. I watched the Marvel Spider-Mans that have been coming out lately, and I just when I watch them on screen, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have Spider-Man in the MCU, but it just doesn't feel the same as like Toby's personally for me, right? But I feel like Tom Holland did a really, really good job capturing this character in this movie to the point where I forgot like he was even voicing him.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he really like I don't know if he's like experienced something similar to that, but he really like went full out for this character, and I really appreciated that as a moviegoer. I think Chris Pratt also did a good performance, not as good as
Oh,
Tom's
yeah.
because I could still hear Chris Pratt's voice when he's like saying stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to doing like what needed to be done, yeah, like he got his shit done, you know? He
Yeah.
did his part.
In terms of my favorite parts, definitely has to be the setting and, like Chris said, kind of the morals within the story. I mean, it just feels as if family meant so much. You know, it
Yeah,
kept reoccurring
definitely.
over and over of family, and also losing family and what it and just how much it means. I mean, no matter, whether it's your mom, your brother, or your father, So
Mm-hmm.
overall, just those I think made it a very powerful film. Um, because in other films or other animations that I guess I've seen from Pixar, not to say that they're not as touching,
Yeah.
but they don't have that same feeling. I couldn't relate to those characters, but in this movie,
Well.
I could. I personally feel like I could totally relate to them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like Tom Holland. Like Jay said, in terms of his performance, it felt really deep. You couldn't help but sympathize with them.
Yeah,
Whether you
definitely.
lost a family member in your life, especially when you can't grow up with them, and you can't even begin to imagine how it feels to live without that person and how much you
Mm-hmm.
want that person to be in your life. It's a struggle and it's a pain and it sucks because it's especially in today's society. I feel like the idea of not having a father figure, it kind of gets pushed aside like it's not important, but I personally think it's very important.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
you can very
I
see
believe in the
how,
nuclear family, like
for sure, yeah. So that's how I felt in terms of my favorite parts of the movie.
Hey, what's the nuclear family? I don't know what that is.
mom, dad, kids,
Oh, okay.
not divorced, not
Yeah.
remarried, things like that. I
Not
mean,
gay, Chris.
obviously,
You fucking sick fuck. Huh?
I
They
didn't
don't
mean that.
count to you? They don't count
I'm
to
just,
you, huh?
I didn't say they didn't count. It loses something. There's something to be said about having a mother, a father, and siblings.
Yeah.
From like
I'm not
an
discounting other
emotional
people.
perspective, right? That's what you're saying
Yeah.
from an emotional perspective. All right.
I mean,
Like
even from a growth perspective.
they don't have to be actually like a mother and a father. They don't have to be like male or female, right? That's what you're saying.
I mean, they don't have to be. I'm just saying there's a benefit if you do have a strong female character in your life as well as a strong male character and strong sibling type people in your lives. Because, like me, I'm an only child, but I had my mom and dad,
Yeah.
and, my siblings were what was missing. And there was definitely a disconnect. I had trouble socializing when I was younger. I'm still pretty awkward. You know me in person. Like, there was something that I missed out on not having siblings. And if I didn't have a mother or a father, I'm sure there's things I would have missed out on there. You know, I'm not saying that I'm a worse person for it, and that someone who had two siblings of each gender, a mother and a father, is going to be a better person than me. I'm just saying they had a more, like, I don't know how to say it.
I think
It's a
everybody should just have good people in their lives. I don't really care much about his mother and father because your grandparents can raise you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
shit. We were talking about Tom Holland thing, Spider Man. Well, his aunt and uncle raised him, you know, and he's like
mm-hmm,
in the comics one of the most beloved superheroes, you know.
mm-hmm.
So, like, I know that's a fictional example, clearly, and if anybody in the comments says that, yeah, no shit. Thank you, dipshit. Thank you for your fucking 2 cents. You typed that out in like somehow 3 seconds. I know you did, little bitch. Anyways, you can just have good people surrounding you and teach
Yeah,
you good
I mean,
morals. Doesn't always have to be mother or father.
yeah,
I
I
know,
don't.
I know. For me personally, I've used a lot of what I've seen on TV, not like pure comedy. Like if I'm watching a black comedy show, which means it's just pure dark humor and shit like that, I don't think
Yeah,
about it morally. Clearly, it's all meant to be dark humor and fucked up and fake. You know, none of
mm-hmm,
that shit's actually happening, right? And like that's how I feel about it, at least. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
like, there's just some shows where like they aired movies as well, like where they touch you in a certain way, you know, and they
mm-hmm.
inspire you every day. My Hero is a good one for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So definitely, it doesn't always have to be just about the people in your lives. It can even be fucking something that is not even really connected to you, but just hits you on a different level.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that movie did that for me today. Like,
Oh, definitely.
didn't have a father figure. I guess you could. Well, I did have a father figure. I didn't have a father. Like biologically, my father just up and left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even though I never resonated with the idea of wanting to really meet him, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I still had empathy for Ian throughout the film because he just is he's very antsy to meet him, you know, and he never really
Mm-hmm.
got to. So you can't help but just feel bad for the kid.
I was gonna say though, back to that kind of the dynamic of having a father. Like, I agree that you don't need a father, a straight up father.
Yeah.
But like coming back to Spider-Man, for example, I mean,
He had Uncle Ben,
Un-
like
Uncle
a
Ben,
strong
yeah,
male
is
figure in his life.
the male figure. I think having a male figure in your life, or just a father figure, whether it's truly not your father or not, can be important or beneficial to see, growth as a man, if
Mm-hmm.
that is what you seek to be, or especially if you look up to them. I mean, coming to my hero, same with All Might. All Might's kind of that same kind of figure that Deku seemed to never really have going over. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what at least I got from the movie, and it seemed not that they were trying to push the idea that having a father straight up forward, is important in a family,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be beneficial, or just a father figure. I would like to think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just my opinion on that part.
I think, well, to me at least, what was important to the movie is just that you just have good people around you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you don't need that one person who you think you need so bad, you know? Because you've been
Mm-hmm.
doing fine without them. So what's the point of having them? I'm not saying like if you don't have somebody in your life that you wish you would, you know? I'm sorry about that personally, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like you're still here, you're still kicking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the
Definitely.
most
Yeah.
important part of the movie for me, at least, is that Ian's still there. And look at that. He's fucking performing magic. He ain't never met his dad, but he's out here,
Mm-hmm.
like, fighting a fucking dragon at one point.
Yeah.
Won't get too
Yeah.
much into that,
Dude,
but
I loved that part. Oh
insane.
my goodness. That was such a good scene.
I
Everything about it.
I honestly loved this entire movie, personally.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
from the very beginning, I was very pessimistic going into it. I literally, at one point, turned to Angel before the movie even began and went, this is going to be a mid-ass movie. And from the beginning all the way to the end, my mind was blown. Like, I didn't think I would feel so much for these characters, but I really did.
Yeah.
I
Like I
kept
said,
like realizing that I had a giant smile on my face, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm enjoying this way more than I thought I would."
Ironic enough, though it's a fantasy world, it still heavily correlates to humans. Which is funny enough that these characters that are they're elves, right? You have elves, ogres, orcs. Manticores,
Yeah.
and they all, in their own way, are very personally just you can empathize and sympathize with these characters,
Bro,
though
I
they're
don't know.
not human.
I don't care what anybody says. Manticore is like second best character. I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Fantastic.
She was funny as fuck. She had me rolling
Yeah.
every time she was talking. She was like, you know them, you know how that shit go. you know damn well the actor wanted to be like, you know how that shit go.
Yeah.
When she was talking about fucking exercising her wings, that shit made me laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though it's set in a fantasy world, I was talking to my girlfriend about it earlier. It's more realistic than most real world movies. Like, there's a lot of real world movies that just don't capture any feeling for me personally, and I'm just sitting there for 2 hours going, I guess that was pretty cool. I guess that was okay. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, one of these movies I can think about off the top of my head, no offense to anybody who likes these movies, but they're trash, and it's Fast and the Furious. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Come for me. Come from my head. Say it. Say something. Fuck Vin Diesel's bald ass head. It isn't that fucking good of a movie.
Cue ball looking.
I'm telling The Rock.
The Rock don't even like his ass, so I'm cool with that. Tell his ass. We could probably be good friends on Twitter, bro. Fuck that entire franchise. I don't give a fuck.
The idea of family in that movie was nothing compared to the idea of family in this movie.
Exactly. And that's why I made that comparison.
The point of Fast and Furious is family, and it felt nothing like this movie. I never feel like they're an actual family. I feel like they're a gang of degenerates that enjoy robbing people and committing other heinous crimes.
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that movie is apparently supposed to be about family, but in reality, it's nothing like it. I don't remember fucking my brother getting out of prison, like in this new one, and fucking trying to put my ass in prison. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
Paul Walker died, and so did the fucking franchise.
I mean, it was dead before Paul Walker died.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, well, I'm just trying to save him.
Tokyo Drift, I kind of just like, adios. I peaced out.
Yeah.
I peace sign.
Paul Walker over here looking over us like, y'all ain't wrong.
I was like, as a weeb, I can appreciate 2 scenes out of this movie. I'm done.
What pisses me off is that they just continued the franchise right after he dies. Like, they're just like, it's not like he's important or anything, right? It's not like he's one of the main cast or anything, right? Yeah. He's just some dead guy in a car, right?
And the main good acting in the film.
For real.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Vin Diesel can't act sometimes, but sometimes his least important roles are usually his best. Like being Groot or fucking being the Iron Giant. Sometimes when he has nothing to say, he's like the best actor. And I don't know if that's fucked up to say. He's the best actor in the room when he has the least amount of lines, okay?
Yeah.
No offense, Vin Diesel.
It's like, I'm seeing the correlation here, or what? Like,
he's
keep following
good
that
with
formula.
body language, and even when it's not body language, just like monosyllabic grunts, I guess. I don't know, like, weird to explain.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, back to Onward.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to
we were talking about
specific scenes?
I want to talk a little more about the setting. I actually did like the setting, like Angel said. I think that was really badass.
One thing I noticed in the movie, there were 2 moons, which I really like as a Pixar fanboy.
I didn't see that.
It means it still takes place in the Pixar universe, just in a different galaxy.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like towards the end, that's where I noticed the moon.
Everything from Cars to Onward is in the same universe still.
That's insane.
Canonically. It's amazing. Like in Frozen, the ship that went down. Okay, none of this has been confirmed, but I like that. I won't go down that route. But
not even that. It's just that you brought up Frozen. That's the first thing my girlfriend said. She was like, "Is it like Frozen?" And I was just like, no. Well, she didn't say, "Is it like Frozen?" She told me after we watched the movie. She was like, "Oh, it's like Frozen, like the love for their brothers and stuff like that." I was just like, "Yeah, but Frozen was like shitty."
Okay, buddy.
Hey, whoa. You're telling me you felt anything for those characters? I'll call you a liar right fucking here. You didn't feel a damn thing.
Which Frozen are we
Let's
talking
not
about?
have this right now.
Frozen 1. Fuck them. The best part about that movie was Olaf. Suck my dick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Olaf felt a strong emotional attachment.
And he doesn't show up until fucking halfway through the movie. Fuck that goddamn movie.
He can still make the whole movie.
No, he sucks fucking dick.
Like you.
That's fine. Never said sucking dick was a bad thing. I just said he sucks it.
I personally think the dynamic between Ian, and his older brother, was like way better. Sorry not sorry. They had more time to spend and bond with one another. While in Frozen, all I remember was Elsa having some existential crisis of who she is, and her sister trying to find her. I don't know.
And that's the worst part about it, is that we only got in. Okay, Chris, shut the fuck up.
Yes, sir.
Like we only get like a few moments of them being kids together, and then immediately Elsa fucking like cripples Anna. Immediately takes her down, and now she has to go get like fixed by trolls, which is fucked.
Freezes a couple of chromosomes here and there.
For real. And I just don't. I don't know. I personally, for me, someone who just neglected me my whole life, like after we were kids and they just kind of said fuck me after our parents died. Like, come on, dude, our parents died. Like I get it that you're fearful right now, but personally, for me, I just think that there was no really like love there for the siblings. Like there was just no like times where we just like felt like they were connected. Like immediately after Anna and Elsa finally meet up again, she gets a fucking frozen heart,
Yeah.
So for me, like there's no connection as like close siblings. Like I'm supposed to believe they're close siblings because they were good siblings to each other as kids,
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest
that's
here.
fair.
Anna and Elsa, we spend no screen time together until the very fucking end. So how am I supposed to believe that? Personally, for me, film is a visual medium. If you don't show me anything, I don't believe you when you say it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some films even cut back just to show you a character's backstory, just so you can see, like, hey, look, this person did that,
Yeah.
If you're not having a plot twist in your film, then you shouldn't be saying something. You should be fucking showing it. And I don't know, Frozen just doesn't connect to me like Onward does. And I'm not saying that because they're male or because fucking Frozen and fucking them are female. Like, I just don't resonate with that. I don't resonate with not speaking to each other for years up until one day, and then all of a sudden I'm willing to risk my fucking life for this person I don't even know. I just don't believe that.
You're just mad because you didn't have any bangers in your fucking movie.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Like, I'm just imagining that that's what people would, like, imagine in terms of...
well, they're fucking wrong, so that's cool with me.
They can think what they want.
Yeah, they can think wrongly if they like. There's definitely a very realistic, number one, realistic connection with the brothers, right? And a definitely more loving one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I guess now we can start getting into spoilers if you like, Chris.
All right. For instance, in the end of the movie, he literally...
Wait, hold up, damn. You just went straight into the end. Jesus Christ. Let's at least give like a fucking spoiler break. Jesus. Alright. So in the beginning of the movie, what makes it very apparent that this is a loving relationship is that when the brother puts him in a headlock, he's not talking shit, he's not talking trash, but he's encouraging him to be stronger than him. He's like, come on, I know you're stronger than that. He's always pushing him to do better instead of trying to make him fear him like a fucking cruel older brother. So from the fucking get-go, you understand that this is a loving relationship.
I mean, I agree in terms of their relationship and just the idea of pushing one another. Because I'm just like thinking of like the brother dynamics. You rarely see the brothers that like full on get along no matter what, pushing one another or just pushing the younger one. It's always this kind of like bullying, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid type. Older brother bullies little brother, and keeps messing with him throughout the whole entire movie, and that's all they import within the movie, and that's it. But in this one, it was a lot deeper than that, which in its entirety throughout the film, what made it great. It made it different, especially for like just those scenes in general. Like Jay said in the beginning, the whole headlock part, and just constantly trying to edge on of him in a very non-demeaning way.
Yeah. You could
it was
tell there was
pushing.
love behind it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Another thing that I really liked between the brotherly bond is that one moment, that fork in the road, where Ian had to decide whether he was going to like give in to him believing that his brother's a screw up and that taking that road was not the way, or giving up his pride and humoring his brother at the risk of not being able to see his dad.
Yeah, that was definitely a relatable part.
Yeah,
because I mean, just thinking about that, I was trying to put myself in Ian's shoes on if there was someone I wanted to meet, and I was going to spend so much of my time. I mean, not even spending, time is of the essence throughout the movie. It's spending as little time, but trying not to waste it to meet this so-called important person, which, it is, really important person, and just trying to reach that goal. It's a struggle. You felt bad. You're just like, you wish the older brother could understand, but vice versa. You're like, oh, maybe he has a point, because the older brother kept getting them in the right direction rather than the wrong direction. So it's pretty funny. I also like the D&D kind of essence within the whole story, and bringing up.
I was going to bring that up later.
Yeah. But
the whole movie is pretty much based on D&D.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
It's like they took just kind of like a kind of copyrighted thing, you know what I mean? And they gave it a story without it like being too forced in, and like it definitely doesn't feel unnatural either.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
It flows very well.
And that's what amazed me the most, is that I was kind of going into this thinking like, this is going to be Cars 2, except this is their first movie. I was going to this thing and being like, oh, man, this movie is going to flop harder than The Good Dinosaur. Because, like I said, I remember watching the trailer and I was just like, it just doesn't look good. And I don't mean to say that Pixar.
No hope for this.
I didn't. Movie. I didn't, dude. I was really going in there like, this is going to be the Monsters University, like straight up.
Oh.
Like,
I can't believe you thought that from the trailer. It was a pretty good trailer in my opinion.
Dude, I see Marvel people have like that are now heavily associated with Marvel, and I just don't like seeing them in any other thing. Like, it kind of just turns me off, because then I'm just kind of like Spider-Man. That's why I'm saying like they actually captured something there with Tom Holland that actually was different from Spider-Man, and I kind of wish Spider-Man was kind of that nerdy sometimes without being a fucking fanboy. Like, I like my Spider-Man nerdy. Or I guess I should say my Peter Parker nerdy, And I like
wimpy.
Exactly. I don't like my shit. And I think Tom Holland did a really good job. I just, I can't say anything other than, like, Tom Holland put this act together,
Yeah.
So, props to him for actually making me think he's good.
This, please shout us out.
Yeah, Tom Holland, if you're listening to this, kiss me.
You could really use a boost in viewership.
Remember you said you thought Peter Parker should be gay in the MCU universe? Yeah, hit me up. I'll do what I gotta do.
I got you, bro. I do like the interspecies kind of romance.
Yeah, that was kind of.
It was underlying, and it wasn't too much. Where you're just subtle. Like, ugh. It was subtle, yeah. Very interesting, and it's cool because I'm trying to imagine this world very similarly to our own.
What? I'm so confused. What are you talking about?
The interspecies kind of relationships, like the centaur, like policeman, and the elf mom.
Got it.
Yeah, they have this relationship.
Do you think the little baby would
Yeah.
come out. It'd be like a
Yeah.
brown blue baby,
Oh, hell yeah, man.
or like a blue centaur
blue
with like
spots.
blue fur.
Yeah,
Yo, that'd be dope.
like an elf centaur, a
Yeah.
blue elf centaur.
Some
Yeah.
big old ears.
Dude, imagine the dick on that guy though.
I mean, he is half
He
horse.
is packing the bottom half. Just to remind you, he is packing. You know that for a fucking fact. He's going to work and that shit's just hanging out. He's just like dropping on the lady officer's fucking desk. He's like, hello, ladies.
I don't like where this is going.
You don't gotta like it. That's what sexual harassment is.
But yeah, going back to the interspecies, I like that. In terms of relationships, it wasn't just, not to say that there wasn't just like elves on elves, or because you don't really see it too much in terms of the relationships between people, but it seemed even in the schools that it was very interspecies type. Like anyone could like anyone at any moment. So
like
it
Ian,
seemed,
I low-key got a like crush vibe with that purple troll. The
yeah, a little
handicapped
bit,
purple
yeah,
troll.
yeah, I can see
Like
that.
he kind of got like skittish anytime he was talking to that troll.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
that
want
one
that troll
scene throughout the
too.
whole movie, yeah.
2 scenes, okay?
No, 2 scenes, good job.
Let me imagine.
Listen, man, that's enough imagining. Get down to the realism, right?
I like how we're saying like realism, but like this whole movie was like
It's
a
an
fantasy.
animated movie. It's set in a
It's
D&D
animated.
world.
But that's the thing, it's
D&D
more
world,
realistic
yeah.
than fucking any other fucking actual, like, not actual actor, because they aren't acting, but like an actual
Yeah.
physical people,
Yeah.
Whoever wrote this movie needs to start doing like more Disney movies.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I
Because
100%
Yeah.
agree. One, I will agree that I am kind of excited for after watching this film, which I kind of like saw it and I was kind of like, I think that's going to be a good film, which is Soul, I'm guessing, is coming out.
Yes.
I saw that,
Yeah.
and I
that
was
the one where he
like,
fell in a sewer hole and turned into like an Inside Out character.
Okay, why is everybody saying Inside Out? They're fucking
'Cause it-
designed
it-
differently, bitch.
they
No, they're
look-
designed differently, bitch. They're designed
The
fucking
vibe,
differently.
I don't
You can
know.
tell the character is a minimalistic style, while Inside Out characters had very fucking intricate fucking designs. Fuck you. Shut the fuck up. I'm sick of this.
I didn't know you were that passionate about a movie that hasn't even come out yet.
No, I'm defending it because everybody's saying, "Ooh, it's Inside Out." I get it. It said Inside Out right before anything. It said, "Oh, by the
Yeah.
producers, Inside Out." But shut the fuck up. It's not the same fucking movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like designed by the same
Similarly,
designers
yeah.
and very similarly, and inspired
That's what I'm saying.
by.
It's like
Studio, what is it, 64 or something?
I get it. It's like it's clearly a little body and shit like that. But I'm just saying, when I hear Inside Out, I think of the characters and their designs. Like they all had intricate designs. One of them was wearing a fucking flannel, for God's sakes. I think it was the one that freaks out or some shit.
Yeah.
But these like designs for these characters are very minimalistic. That's what I've noticed. Is that it's literally like as minimal as you can think. It's literally just outlines and then blue shining in the fucking center.
Yeah.
I guess. It looks similar to me.
Yeah, you blind ass fucking bat. That's why you have
I'm not
glasses.
saying it's like Inside Out too.
This is why you have glasses and I don't, bitch.
Similarity.
This is why you have glasses and I don't.
I'm not gonna fight you. I mean, I
It's
have my
fine.
opinion. You have yours.
Onward with the movie that we were gonna,
Onward with Chris fucking sucking my ass.
I did like how a lot of the characters that they were meeting with were coming back to their roots of magic.
Mm-hmm.
The fairies.
The fairies, yeah, I
manticore,
was just gonna mention that.
the mom, even the centaur at the end,
Yeah.
the main
I
character.
love that. That was a really good touch on that.
I love the centaur's hair. I was not expecting that, dude. That was like a total curveball. He just whips out this beautiful mane of long, luscious hair. I was
That
like,
shit
whoa.
had me rolling.
He's
I was like,
I'm
bro.
gonna run, baby. And I was like, you do that, man. You go get him. I fully support you now. I
Dude,
hated
he's
you
going.
before.
I like to think that there's gonna be just one person that pisses him off. Whatever like the minority is in that fucking city. But he's just gonna get pissed off by them. He's gonna be like, "That's it, you fucking Elfie." He's gonna be like, "Elfie," and then he's gonna fucking stomp him out with his fucking jaw, dude. It's gonna fucking break his jaw with his hoof. He's gonna fucking get ridden up for fucking racial hate crime.
It's funny because they did introduce like kind of gangs in some way with the fairy.
Yeah,
I'm like wondering.
They were like a full-on biker gang. What was it called? The Pixie Dusters?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When I hear Pixie Dusters, I do not think of pixies flying around. I think.
Am I the only one that thought about the cow and chicken thing where they had like those one characters dressed up as a biker gang? It was all women, and then fucking their name was called Rug Munchers.
The Rug Munchers, not carpet eaters. My bad.
Yeah, they called it Rug Munchers. I honestly was expecting some shit like that. That should have been funny as fuck.
I mean, it is Pixie Dusters.
Pixie Dusters? More like Coke.
I was going to mention the gelatinous Q reiteration over and over. I knew it had to pop up at some point. I was waiting for it. It's like
that was the one predictable part of the movie.
Yeah, gelatinous cube. You know,
I could have done without it.
Really, I liked it.
I liked it in terms of comedic humor. Just
I like that it was accurate too. He's like, yeah, it disintegrates everything it touches, and you're kind of like, that seems a little OP. They're not gonna put that in a children's movie. Watch some dude get turned into some red goop. Nope, they did it. Upper half of their father got melted away. Thanos snapped into nothingness.
I mean, now that you just reminded myself of the father, I really love how they were able to instill so much emotion with the bottom half
a pair of legs.
A pair of legs.
What?
That was insane.
I think that's one of my favorite moments is him just dancing with his kids, you know? He can't see what's going on, but he knows that they're there, you know? And I think that's all that really matters is like even when you're gone, you know, you just hope that everybody around you is like there to have fun and able to be happy,
enjoy themselves without you.
Exactly.
As dark as that sounds, I mean, we're all gonna die one day.
It does sound dark, but I think that's the whole point of the film is like it revolves around death. It revolves around. I mean, think about it. Fucking his dad's been dead for all his life. I mean, they even have little subtle scenes where he like literally almost dies. You know, and
walks off the cliff.
Exactly, dude.
And then the leash undid, and then the brother caught him at the last second. I was like, oh my goodness, heart attack.
The brother? You mean he caught himself?
The dad didn't catch himself.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Brother caught him.
I thought you were talking about fucking Ian when he was walking across the bridge.
I thought we were talking about the dad.
Oh no, I thought I thought you brought up fucking Ian.
How Ian's brother was like, "Oh, I'm not going to mention this because you're doing great."
Yeah.
And then Ian got mad at first, and then he kind of smirked. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I did do that."
Yeah, he did great, man.
I'm alive.
I think it's amazing.
I mean,
I'm a wizard.
Yeah, I'm a wizard. Yeah, I mean,
You're a wizard, Ian.
Like putting yourself in those shoes, you were so close to death, and it was a very near-death experience for him. But he still survived. He did. He was alive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made himself Ian's character way more alive. Is that I did this. No one else did this. I did this. I believed in me. I believed in every step that I took, except for the last one. But I'm alive, and I did it.
Yeah.
So it just shows how much confidence. I mean, the final. As you keep going throughout the movie, him being a wizard to me signifies how much his confidence is growing, rather than just magic itself. It's like an analogy for his confidence. Because at the end,
that's another reason I like this movie so much. I'm a very big fan of coming of age films. You know, like an adventure that defines who you are all the way into adulthood. And that was everywhere in this movie. I mean, everything he did was improving on him as a human, which is what I strive for every day of my life. You know, I want to have an event that changes my trajectory.
Yeah.
Because while change is uncomfortable, it's healthy.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I liked about this movie. It showed the good and the bad of everything, you know, from
Yeah.
loss to taking a hike with your brother to find a rock.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind
Oh,
of want to talk about the Manticore a little bit.
oh, go ahead.
She was amazing. I mean, she went from this like really timid, like scared of rules and regulations, like Chuck E. Cheese almost owner,
Yeah.
to like a complete murderous, rampaging beast that is to be feared in like
Hmm.
half a second, and
Yeah.
stayed that way for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
This is reminding me of the Manticore like suit and the person that was in the Manticore suit.
Or it was a teenager, dude. We
Because
saw him
Yo,
trying to
fuck
crawl out of
up.
the suit.
Imagine you working, right? You had an interview with her at one point, you know? Like, you had to talk to the
Yeah.
Manticore yourself because she's the manager, clearly. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
She hires your ass, and then one day she just loses her shit and beats your ass. Like, you just fucking getting your gender taken by her and shit. You're like, ah,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
Literally melt your face off.
Yeah. I was gonna say I do like that she points out to the mom, like when the mom's like, oh yeah, like is there like, you know, the little one, he's kind of like he gets scared of everything, and then the big one he's like
Yeah.
scared of nothing.
She's like,
And then
no, the big one's a baby.
yeah, he was like, no, the big one's a baby. He's like, the little one's the one that's fearless, and I was just like, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of was foreshadowing what he was going to become.
Exactly.
And I love when movies do that.
Same here.
For sure. Towards the end, going back to the foreshadowing of what he will become and what he did become.
Mhm.
Being a confident wizard at the end, defeating the dragon, to me was him finally reaching all of these goals that he's been meaning to hit.
Mhm.
Being confident, not just being confident. Actually, a lot of the goals that he wanted to do with his dad, but he just didn't do it with his dad. He did it also together with his older brother.
Yeah, with his
So
brother.
pretty
Is
meaningful.
it bad that I don't remember the brother's name?
Barley.
Barley.
That's right.
Barley.
I'm surprised you don't remember his name.
Ian
Just
had such
saw
an
it.
impact.
Yeah, Ian was such a like pivotal character that, like you said, like, and Tom Holland did such a good job, like
Yeah.
creating a a person, that Barley kind of fell by the side for me a little bit, which doesn't
Yeah.
take away from the movie at all. He's still a great character, great voice. It's just I didn't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgettable. I completely understand that. I felt the same way about the fat dude. See, I can't even remember his name now. The fat dude from fucking Wall-E. Pretty sure they gave his ass a
Oh,
name.
yeah.
Don't even know who that is, and he's like half the story too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you constantly come back and forth between him and Wall-E at some point. You know what I mean? Don't even know his
Yeah.
fucking name. I just call him fat dude from Wall-E. Honestly. What I like about this film, like I said, it's just the realism, and I think one of the most realistic parts is when Barley explains to Ian why he doesn't get scared of anything.
Yeah.
And him just sitting there and like being emotional with him and just letting him know, like, yeah, dude, I actually have like this other like
a fourth memory.
A fourth memory of dad, and I just don't like that memory because it scared me because dad looked scary. He didn't look like dad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really like touching him, just letting him know, like, yeah, the last few moments I got to see our dad is not something I like to remember. And I felt scared in those moments.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I can personally relate specifically to that event or not, but I can vividly remember my fear as a 14 to 16-year-old when my grandfather had cancer, and just watching him deteriorate. It was to the point where I had an opportunity to go up to Sacramento to see him again, knowing that he was going to pass soon, and I turned it down because I didn't want to remember him like that. And I remember at the funeral regretting it. And so like, I don't know if it's because of that, but I literally came to tears in the theater. I didn't start bawling like a baby, but like, I shed a tear because it's such a everyone can at least understand what he went through.
For
Yeah.
sure. I feel like eventually everyone will hit that point.
Hmm.
Personally, for me, just something that like I can literally sympathize that, and or empathize with at the same time is like for me it was like the death of my grandmother, because my grandmother being alive is a totally different person than when her last of her days,
Hmm.
with tubes everywhere.
Literally, yeah.
Kind of literally, yeah. And I can totally understand that. It's you don't want to be there. It's
No.
scary. It's just you don't want to see them suffering. They're just not that person anymore. They're just this
Hmm.
lying, vessel of a person, and that's it. That's all it is. And it's
You
a
don't
sad
want to
thought. That,
remember them like that either.
yeah, it's,
Like, you don't want that to be your last memory of someone you loved and someone you cared about and
for sure.
did life with.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
completely understandable. And from Barley's perspective, I completely understood as well.
Hmm.
I've actually lost two great grandmothers back to back, like in a matter of like 3 months. So I know how that
yeah,
shit feels, seeing them and just seeing them in the hospital, and you're just kind of like, fuck, you know.
Yeah.
One great grandma was on my stepdad's side, and while I wasn't really close with her, she always treated me like I was part of the family, you know. So
Hmm.
mm,
I definitely felt like I lost a bit of my stepdad's family, you know, and a
Yeah.
little bit of my family, because while I was never like amazingly close with her, it still felt good to know that like someone on my stepdad's family had my back no matter what, you know.
yeah,
Hmm.
And then for my other great grandma, she used to take care of me when I was sick, when my grandma couldn't, or when my mom couldn't. So seeing her finally pass, that's definitely was a rough moment in my life, and I don't think I fully understood it until the day after her funeral,
Hmm.
where
yeah,
I came home after it and I went straight to like I laid on my bed for like 15 minutes. I didn't even like move, and I just eventually passed out. And I woke
Yeah.
up like 10 hours later, middle of the night, surprised nobody woke me up, you know?
yeah,
Body tired, fucking eyes for some reason feeling like swelling, and I just started bawling my eyes out just in
Hmm.
the
yeah,
middle of the night by myself, you know? And
yeah,
even though like I could still remember that, how she looked in the hospital and stuff like that, I still remember the good times, and I don't know.
Hmm.
I personally don't regret it. I understood where Barley was coming from though, especially from a kid's perspective. That's really rough
Yeah.
from a kid's perspective.
yeah,
And I don't know if I could. I don't know. I think I'd be the same position that Barley was in if
Hmm.
my great grandparents were passing away at that time. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I can do it. I usually not. I try not to be fearful of things, but I will say death is fearful for all. You know,
Yeah.
especially if
yeah,
you don't
Definitely.
know exactly what's after it, if there is anything after it. So, I will say
Hmm.
this movie very melancholy, very
Oh
for
yeah.
melancholy,
sure.
sadness
It
all
was like
around, but
happy
it's
but
still something.
subtle hints of
Yeah,
like despair and depression.
yeah,
Like even in the beginning of the movie, you could tell that Ian was depressed, just and you could tell that his mom knew but didn't know how to handle it. And it was
Yeah,
heartbreaking,
yeah,
to watch a
yeah,
teenager that's not far off from our own age struggling with stuff that can be helped, you know.
yeah,
yeah. And you would think those closest to him would be able to full on help him,
Mhm.
and when they can't, it makes it worse because from his perspective, he's like, well, this is only something I can deal with, and there's no one else there to help me. Not to
Mhm.
realize that those closest to him, they really want to help him, you know. So it was, pretty sad scene in terms of him trying, especially in the beginning, him, he puts on his dad sweater and then it gets
Mhm.
ruined, and then the food he's trying to eat in the morning, just his whole morning on his birthday,
Yeah. It was
no
just
less.
going horrible,
Horrible. I mean, just super shitty.
as bad
And
as you can imagine.
yeah, so it was pretty sad. Also, another part that I'm like remembering is when he goes after he leaves, he goes to go like eat at some like fast food joint,
Oh yeah, and
and
he
he
meets
talks
that
to that.
dude
Yeah, and he
that
kind of
knew his
explains on
dad.
how his dad was purple socks, but that
Yeah,
he really wished.
bold.
Oh yeah, right. And
That's the word he used, right?
yeah, and he was just so outward and so confident and wasn't afraid to do what he wanted. And you could
Hmm.
see that Ian wanted to know more. He's like, please tell me more. Like this is as close as as I'm ever going to get to my
Yeah.
father. And when he's just like, sorry, like I gotta go, it's like, oh,
The heartbreak you could
it's,
see on Ian's face.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, I love where animation is at now. Because
yeah.
I know it was probably a mix of like mocap as well as whatever to like capture
Mhm,
that. Because it
mhm,
was so realistic, there's no way someone just hand drew all that. I don't
yeah.
believe it.
I don't know. No, I know.
You
It's
could like
insane.
you could see the expression on his face, which I love.
Yeah, very subtle, yet you can like you. It just relates so much of like another human. You
Hmm.
know, it's amazing. I gotta give props to the animation actually. Now that you bring that up, it's amazing.
Hmm.
The art, the style of it was just it was great. It was spectacular. You gotta love it. It fits
Yeah.
so well. It doesn't feel out of place, though it has that like you guys said that melancholy feel. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel out of place at all. It feels
No,
perfect. Like
it
wow.
feels like real life. I think that's why it
Yeah.
was so relatable. You
Yeah.
know, we all go through crappy days and we all feel like sad from time to time, you know.
For
We all
sure.
have the worst birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all have a memory like that.
I think Ian was easily the most fleshed out character, which he should be because he's the main
Yeah.
character. And I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of movies forget about that, you know? They forget to
Hmm.
flesh out their main, which leaves them usually feeling high and dry. And
Yeah.
you don't really feel anything when they finally reach their like you said, Chris, coming of age story. When it finally comes to a climax, you sometimes just don't feel
Hmm.
anything because they didn't focus enough on
Genuinely
them.
don't care about that character because you don't know enough about that character and you can't relate with him at all.
Exactly. And I think with this movie, that's not the case at all. I think Ian is probably the most relatable, whether you have a family member that you're missing or not, you know? There's
Yeah.
just a sense of empathy there. And I just really hope no one fucking says, oh, I wouldn't be mad at Barley. I wouldn't fucking be mad at Barley. Barley was just trying to do the good thing. Or, right, it's
Yeah.
Barley, right? I think it's Barley.
Yeah.
Yes, you would. If you were in Ian's position, yes, you would. You'd be
Oh
frustrated,
yeah.
dude. Because I hate when people are always like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," because they're not because they're not in the movie. You know what I mean? Or that I wouldn't react like that because they're not in the fucking movie. It's like, bitch, yes, you would. This is a realistic take on it, motherfucker. If this was genuinely your life, you would fucking react like that because that's shit. That sucks ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when Barley fucks him over with the gas, that shit sucks ass. When fucking Barley does like annoys him at school with his fucking little stupid ass Dungeons and Dragons play, that shit sucks ass. I would be
Yeah.
pissed if my fucking brother or sister or my parents or my fucking anybody did that shit to me. I would run a fade. I'd be like, I need the hands. I need the fucking hands. Give me your shit because you're making me look dumb out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 So I just don't want to hear anybody in the comments saying, "Well, Barley did nothing wrong. Barley did nothing wrong." Suck my fucking cock.
Definitely some tension between them as brothers and how they kind of feel about one another.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, no, for sure. I mean, you could definitely see it. I think the part where you full on see it in a magical yet physical form, and it's not even said, is when they're using that disguise as like the
Oh yeah.
centaur, and that one cop just says, "Oh no, like the other, the other son, the
He's such a
what did she
screw
say?
up or whatever.
The screw up, yeah." And it was like, oh, like he lied, and
Yeah.
like you said, magic doesn't
Like
lie,
he
and I think
believed.
it's exactly. And it's not that I don't think at that moment, like he full on believed it, but for that moment he did because
Mhm.
everything was going wrong and
Yeah.
time was of the essence. And it's fucking crazy using magic in order to get closer to realism. That's,
Mhm. It blows
that's
my mind, dude.
exactly right. It's so creative. It's amazing.
Only Disney.
What blows my
Only
mind?
Disney.
What blows my mind is something as simple as, if you think about it, we only get the end of their dad, right?
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to be following the main character, which is Ian, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, he only gets the end of his dad. His dad dies like before or while he was young, you know?
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
never really get a time for that, do we? Never before he's born. Just that he never got to meet
No.
him, right?
No.
So
never
that can
got
be
to meet
anywhere
him.
from him before he was born or after. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think it's
Yeah.
kind of like, it's as simple as they gave him we got the end of the father because that's all Ian got, you know.
Yeah.
He only got the end of his father's life, not his whole life. Like, luckily Barley was there to experience it, and I'm happy he was there to experience it, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's something a little subtle that I liked.
One thing that I really enjoyed was like the sacrifice. Because
Yeah.
I'm a big sacrifice fan. I mention it in any movie that has it. But the sacrifice of Ian to let Barley go and for him to go and fight this massive behemoth of a rock golem dragon thing.
Yeah.
You know, risk his life for the second time in a day. Like, I don't know. It really, I guess, hit home how much there was a brotherly love between them.
For sure. Thinking about it, he put aside what his goal was the entire time, which was to see his dad. He put it aside.
The adventure was for nothing for Ian, basically.
Yeah.
When you think
about it. At the same time, and if you think about it, for like what the goal he was aiming for, yeah. But at the same time, he realized at the end that he learned a lot. He, completed all his goals, and all those goals could have never been done without his brother. So
that little flashback montage, I loved that.
Oh yeah,
seeing them as kids messing around.
That got me emotional.
Yeah.
I am not gonna lie. The scene that got me the most emotional was when Barley was just talking about his fear after seeing his dad like that. I did tear up very heavily in that scene because it just shows where his head is at all times. Like, he may act childish and playful.
You're a psychopath. Like, there's no way. There's no way you can feel any human emotion if you don't sympathize with Barley on that scene.
Yeah.
Come at me in the comments if you want, but if you didn't cry, you should get your chemical balances in your brain checked.
I would say, like, that just shows where his head is at the entire time when he's being fearless, you know? Showing that even though he's being fearless and he acts like he doesn't care, that, like, that's always constantly running through his mind, you know?
Yeah.
Because he has to be fearless all the time, especially for his little brother.
One thing I liked about Barley's character is that they made him kind of that emo grunge kid that's so popular these days, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I'm not even, like, hating on it. Like, my girlfriend falls into that category heavily. But, you know, the using music to cope, the very heavily on kind of baggy, casual style, proud of the junk they got, you know? His van, Guinevere. I don't know. It's just he fit a stereotype that doesn't get addressed a lot, and especially in like Disney movies of all things. Yeah. You'd have never expected to have an emo, pretty pivotal character in a movie. At least I would have never expected it. And then you're kind of looking at him, and you're like, oh, he's got some deep stuff he hides behind that tough demeanor, you know?
Oh yeah, he's something much more than that, than just the stereotype of, you know, like you said, this kind of emo D&D playing geek.
You know? Right now, I'm looking up some little combo. Fucking looking up what else the director has done, right? And he was like a storyboard artist and all this shit, and fucking storyboard designer.
Wait, is this his first movie?
This is not his first movie. His first movie he but something he co-directed was Mater and the Ghostlight. I don't remember. I think that's like a fucking...
I remember that. That was a short for the special edition of Cars. And it was actually really good.
Alright, well, he did co-direct that. And then he directed Tracy. I don't know what that is. Yeah, but he directed Monsters University.
And you just crapped on
him. Shitted on him, dude. He's fucking pissed right now. He's writing in the comments right now telling you, fuck you piece of shit.
He's like, how could you tell me you love my one movie when you hated my first?
Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. Monsters University did not smack. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Yeah, it didn't. That's one of the more forgettable
Pixar films.
Yeah.
Well, let's just be happy. I mean, he went at a Pixar movie at a different route and a different situation, and just like
I'm so glad Disney gave him another chance, dude. After MU, I wouldn't have given him a chance if I'm speaking monetary Like,
Well, that's the thing is the
your
movie
money
didn't.
it'd be a no after Monsters University, dude. That thing, what it make like a quarter of its budget back in ticket sales?
Pretty sure it
Man,
was
it didn't
perfect.
sell good. It didn't merch well. It didn't merge into anything. It didn't like that was just a horrible, horrible movie in my opinion.
I mean, its budget was 200 million.
Chris, what the fuck are you
box
talking
office.
about? Did you look any of this shit up? Are you just fucking talking out your
So-
ass?
I'm talking out of my butt, yeah.
Yeah, because it was perfectly fine. It actually made back 144 million.
Really?
Yes, it made back
Yeah.
144 million. Got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.3 on IMDb. 4 out of 5 on
Yeah.
Common Sense Media, I think it's called. Yeah, Common Sense Media.
That makes no sense. Everyone I talk to hates it.
Yeah, well, it's because that's critic reviews. Because they're thinking about it from a critic standpoint. I was more or less talking about it from a sequel standpoint. Or a prequel, I guess. Which I don't really care for.
Mhm.
If it wasn't part of the first movie, I don't really care about prequels. Don't really give it to me. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck Fantastic Mr. Beast and Where to Find Him, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
but not
mean-
fuck Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is fine. I'm just saying fuck
Yeah.
Fantastic Beast and Where to Find
We
Him.
love
whatever
you,
the fuck it's
Jimmy. Please give us $1 million. We
Yeah.
will play rock, paper, scissors.
called. I will go on fucking Twitch live and fucking, I don't know, jerk my weed or get banned if you donate 10 grand right now. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really great about that film for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the villain was that memorable.
Oh,
Not like
not at
Randall
all.
was in the first one. But yeah, back to Onward. I think even though the director flopped before, I'm not gonna take my opinion back. I'm not taking that shit back.
Yeah,
I like this movie, but that doesn't mean I have to like your other fucking movies.
true.
So
Yeah.
even though the director flopped before, I think he did a really good job this time.
Oh yeah.
And I think Tom Holland did a great performance, and Chris Pratt did a pretty good one for a character that I think could have been worse with the wrong voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The voice made that character.
Yeah.
Ian. Like, don't beat around the bush. Like, if they had gotten some budget, voice actor, or even if Chris Pratt had voiced him, or I can't think of a young voice actor off the top of my head, but Tom Holland was perfect for the role. I don't know if he prepared a ton for it or if it just came naturally, but the end product was phenomenal.
Yeah. Tom Holland really fits that like stereotype, funny enough, of just like
Oh yeah.
the not popular, kind of wimpy, geeky, kid with low self-esteem. His voice fits it perfectly,
Yeah.
which is funny because
noodle-armed prepubescent nobody.
yeah, like his
That's
voice
what
just
I
fits
call
it. Yeah, it's funny enough. But then like if you look at how he is in real life, I mean, he's a little bit, I guess, like that, but a more popular version of that.
Yeah,
I guess.
he has the aesthetics of a
The aesthetic
noodle-armed
of-
nobody.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that dude is built though. I don't know, like not built. He's more
well, that
leanly
was
shredded.
post Marvel. You should see pre-Marvel Tom
Oh,
Holland.
pretty much.
I
I mean, he
should.
used to. He still did like a bunch of gymnastics, right? He was into gymnastics.
Yeah, he
right?
was in gymnastics, but you don't use. I don't know.
I know muscles
looked-
is really important. You have to have a lot of upper body. strength.
Anyways, I'm pushing
Anyways.
for fucking Onward to be seen by everybody. Whoever's watching right now, go see Onward.
Oh yeah.
Go
'Cause-
watch that shit. Go spend millions of dollars on it if you can, because apparently it's not doing too well in the box office right now.
Really? It's not?
No, actually, it's not. I don't know how your movie theater was. Ours kind of packed, but it was also the early bird, and that's cheaper, so I'm usually expecting
Bro.
people to be there.
A 9 o'clock showing, not a common, viewing time. I couldn't find a seat other than G7, which is like way up, and I like to sit kind of in the middle. I was in like near the top row.
Well, I'll tell you on that, but currently, right now, apparently it only made about 47 million its opening weekend.
Wow,
Mm,
that's
Yeah.
really low.
definitely a hidden gem if that's the case. Because if it's gonna
Yeah.
keep going down that route, it's definitely one of those hidden gems that I feel later down the line, people are gonna be like, oh shit, oh wow, this movie's
This
so
was
so
slept
great.
on hard.
I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait for everybody to start dressing up like Barley and fucking posting all that shit at fucking Hot Topic in a couple years from now. Where I want to blow my brains out and be pissed off because they ruined a good franchise just like they did fucking Nightmare Before Christmas. And then what's even worse is that they just continue to ruin it. Like, oh great, Invader Zim's ruined for me now too. I hate that show now. I can't even watch it without thinking about some fucking emo bitch with fucking colored hair with a fucking Gur backpack. Why do you have a Gur backpack, bitch? Why?
Yeah. And then when you ask them about it, they don't know jack shit about
Yeah, they're like,
Zim.
oh, I just thought he looked cute. I thought just thought he looked cute. I thought he looked cute on my backpack. Fuck you,
I got
bitch.
it at box lunch.
I will pee on your backpack. I will pee on your backpack even though it destroys me a little on the inside for hating on it.
Even My Hero, dude. Like, I see people in the street wearing My Hero stuff, and I'm like, hey, All Might. And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh my. I finally understand what all the kids yelling at me for wearing band t-shirts of bands I never listened to. I feel you now. I am so sorry, people in my high school that yelled at me. I sincerely apologize. I know you're watching this too. Specifically you, Haley, because you did it like on a weekly basis. Sorry, girl.
Sorry.
We honestly live in a world of obscurity now.
Yeah.
Where it's okay to not know things and wear them on your fucking t-shirt. And I'm not looking forward to the day where I start seeing fucking stupid looking motherfuckers dressing up as Barley at fucking Hot Topic for Halloween or some shit. That shit's gonna piss me off.
I thought he was a Smurf.
Yeah, I thought he was a Smurf. Oh, I'm gonna get tilted, dog. I'm gonna get.
I thought he was the Smurf with the big ears.
Honestly, if it's not gonna do that well, can we just like somehow lock all this up? Can we just like hide it from everybody? Yes. Make sure no one can find it.
Let the normies get a hold of this movie. They will ruin it. Only us big brains can watch this movie.
Not even fucking normies. Just fucking people who don't. Like, just don't give it to the people who like to ruin shit. And what I mean by that is, like, they make that fucking movie their religion. Like, this is a great film. Don't get me wrong. This is a great film. But after this, I'm going to go look at other films. I'm going to go watch other films. Tonight, I decided to watch Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee, which is nowhere near the same thing of Onward. But it's still, like, people like to make it their whole religion. That's what I'm worried about. I do not want to see people dressed up as Barley or Ian or fucking some edgy-ass character in the fucking movie.
The mom.
Like, no, there's already old white women that dress up like the mom. It's already too late.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
girls
out there.
I was scrolling through Instagram on the Onward hashtag just to see if I could, grab the podcast some clout real quick.
Yeah.
And people are already like sexualizing the mom.
Oh, I hate
You're lying.
Oh my god.
Just know people are smutting on this movie already.
Oh god.
I just found a really cool fan art of Barley. Oh, that was kind of cool.
I mean, there's cool fan art, yeah, but I was scrolling for like 40 minutes because ads are ridiculous at Cinemart. And yeah, I saw like 3 or 4 images that I wished I could bleach my eyeballs from.
There's just dude, that's why I hate that's the one thing I will say about certain art fandoms, man. They're so disgusting. They have to just ruin shit, man. It pisses me off. Like, why?
Like, even you draw some pretty provocative stuff, but like it's with taste. It's not like that's disgusting.
For sure. No, these people dead ass are over here being straight up I don't know, like
face on a children's cartoon character. Like, what?
Dog, come on, what are you doing? It's not right. They're over here being Shadman.
That's what they're doing. It made me click, didn't it,
guys?
Even though I'm a hater,
guys.
Oh no!
It's already happening. They're already posting pictures on Twitter about Barley, and they look like emo cringe kids. It's already happening.
It's why do normies have to exist? Can we just purge the world of normies? That's gonna be the next World War. It's not gonna be World War III. It's gonna be World War Normie.
Chris, you're saying that, but I have a very high suspicion that your ass would be thrown in that fucking category.
What?
I have a high ass suspicion
Just
your ass.
because I like Frozen, okay?
No,
You
no, no,
don't
no,
have
no,
to
no.
be-
I'm talking about because you used to wear bands that you didn't fucking listen to. Like,
Okay, that was high school. I'm a
okay,
different
and
man
that's
now.
still normie as fuck. So I'm gonna need you to chill out.
But he's a changed man.
Yeah, I'm a reformed normie.
He's
That's why I'm
reformed.
leading the fight against my ex.
Okay, okay. If Hitler says sorry, the Holocaust doesn't just magically disappear. It still happened, bitch.
Yes, it does.
How does that even relate?
If
Oh
Hitler
my
apologized, I would have
Listen,
accepted his
listen.
apology.
It means
He's
your
not
actions have
Jewish.
not, their actions have not equated for your consequences, right?
Oh
Haley,
my God. But
fucking
why
stab
did
him,
you use
stab him.
Hitler? You used Hitler.
Yes,
Listen,
me
that's just-
wearing band T-shirts from bands
Oh
I did not
my
listen to is on the same level of gassing millions of Jews.
I think it's
Yeah.
on even more of a level.
You made him sound. You made Chris sound like he was the leader of like all these normies and continuing this like wave of just wearing band T-shirts they didn't listen to.
Like, I'm sorry I wanted to be edgy in high school. I don't think that makes me a normie, but if you say so, Jay.
I think that makes you a huge fucking normie.
All right, see you at work, buddy.
Man, bitch, I'll see you at work too.
Catch these hands.
Man, catch his
no.
dick.
All right, well,
You
All right,
fucking
daddy.
Normie. No plow Chris's ass cheeks and call him normie while I do it.
Okay, you'll have to pull out before you call me normie, so
oh no.
All right,
it's
normie.
consensual until that word comes out.
It's
I know what I'm
consensual
gonna
to
make.
that.
I know what I'm gonna make for the thumbnail.
Me plowing Chris.
I'm gonna draw
being-
you. I'm gonna draw you guys. It's like you're borrowing me. Fucking
Just
doing
draw me in a
nasty
band
shit.
T-shirt, like some totally obscure band that nobody, not even the comment section, will recognize.
But anyways, I think Onward is probably in my top 5. I think it's in my top 3 for Pixar. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna give that a fucking hard 8.5. That's a hard 8.5 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 9 personally.
I'm gonna give it a 9. 9 out of 10. I really liked it.
The reason I say 8.5 is that there's definitely like better Pixar films to me. Like I think Up is probably one of the best ones.
Definitely. That's one thing I forgot to mention.
At first, I thought when I came out that movie theater that I liked it more than Up, but I think I started thinking about it a little more, and I don't know, Up just hits different.
Yeah,
Like, it really gets
I
you in your
for-
emotions.
I forget who said it, but someone said something about like Pixar movies not being emotional in the beginning, and I said, "All right, hold up." And the reason why was because Up. Okay, Up makes me cry to this day
Mm-hmm.
because I've been in love and I've lost the person that I was in love with, and it's hard, dude. Like the most difficult thing I've gone through in my entire life, and
Really?
I've not had the most easy life. Yeah, getting over my ex who took her life was phenomenally more difficult than anything I've ever done.
But yeah, I think personally for me it's just a hard 8.5 because there's a lot of films that I really like that I feel like are underrated from Pixar. I feel like one of them that doesn't get like any love now, really, like other than kind of memes every now and then, it's like pops up, which is like Ratatouille. I think that's a really good film.
Ratatouille.
I think that's one of the best films because our main character really isn't the dude, but more or less, Remy.
Yeah, it's Remy. Yeah.
And I like that he doesn't search for love throughout the film, but just more of a passion, and he does that, and I think that's what stands out. Yeah, but I was saying more like he doesn't look for love in a more partnerish type of way, even though he's a rat. He has a passion for something, and he just goes after that instead of trying to find like a mate or something, which for me I think is some of the most important things. Don't get me wrong, I think that the casual story of love and just finding a person to understand you and stuff like that, I think that's beautiful, but I also believe in if you're not happy with yourself, then how are you going to be happy with somebody else, and I think the biggest films for me like today was Onward. That's why I made my top 3, because of the fact that Ian's not looking to impress a girl, but he's looking to meet his dad, so that stands out. It's not about love from a person that isn't your family member. It's about love just from somebody who feels like a family member, who feels like family, who feels like important to you, That just shows that not every movie by Pixar needs to be about love or anything like that. So
If you guys want us to review any specific movies or really anything, we're open to suggestions in the comments down below. We do read every comment. See you guys in about a week, I'd say.
go watch Onward.
Yes,
Don't
definitely. Please.
ignore it just because it's not a fucking Disney princess or it's not fucking Wreck-It Ralph or it's not about anything that you find relevant. Just go watch it. It's a genuinely
You'll be
good
pleasantly
movie.
surprised, I promise.
For sure.
Whether or not you like character development or you like pretty details or you like dope ass fucking action scenes, you'll love this movie. This movie has everything in it.
Excuse me.
Chris, can you sneeze any louder out of the fucking outro? Jesus Christ. If you don't mind me, I'm gonna go fucking plow Chris's ass cheeks while I scream Normie in his ear.
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
See you in 5 minutes, buddy.
Right. Don't forget to comment and subscribe too. And if y'all see it, like, definitely comment about it.
Like, comment, subscribe. If there's any points you like that we made, if there's any jokes that you didn't like that we made, don't fucking watch. Simple as that. Bitch. Fuck. I'm not gonna stop making jokes. You're unhappy with it?
Negative.
You ain't making me money yet. Once you pay for my Patreon, all right, then we can talk about what jokes I can and cannot say, bitch.
You heard it here first, folks. Subscribe to our Patreon. We'll have a God tier. You command us from now on. It's $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
You pay our rent. Thank you.
Eventually, we'll have a Twitter account, and if you pay the God tier, which is $100 a month, all right, pay it one time, you get one free Twitter tweet, whatever the fuck, and we'll tweet whatever you say, no matter how cruel and fucked we will be after.
So I have a thought for the subscribers. We can make a poll on Twitter when we make the Twitter account. How many of you would like us to open up a OnlyFans account?
No.
Why not?
You're saying my fucking name. Jesus Christ.
Oh shoot! Bleep it out.
You're fucking retarded. Sorry for any Down syndrome listeners. I just have a potty mouth. Yep. Subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends.
You have to bring chromosomes into this, dude.
Shut the fuck up, Chris, already. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and don't forget to watch Onward.
Yes.
So,
please watch it.
Just like the movie, we'll be heading onward.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye. Toodles.
Shut the fuck up.